Krishna Kumar. I'm an assistant professor at UT Austin in Geotechnical Engineering Group. Started here in 2019. And before that, I was a postdoc and a PhD student at Cambridge and studied in India before. I work in geotechnical engineering. That's my main research area. So I do develop numerical methods and AI and machine learning to do with geotech and civil engineering in general. Currently, we're working on natural hazards, so landslides, earthquakes, and mostly geotechnical, so landslides and earthquakes, but sometimes also tsunami type big events. And the impact it has on people when these natural hazards happen. So how do you model these regional scale hazards? And how are you going to convince people that they need to either evacuate or make decisions? So it has a direct impact on people's lives and saving people's lives, but also in terms of equity and making sure we put appropriate resources in these risk-prone regions, and also in terms of communicating those hazards, because as engineers we tend to model things and make sure everything is correct physically, but if you don't communicate it well, then people are not going to react. So that's been the other major aspect of my research, is how do you visually communicate these results to people. Now we're working more on AI and machine learning techniques and how we can use that to help understand these hazards. Then you open up another Pandora's box of ethics in AI and whether it identifies objects in low-income neighborhood versus upscale neighborhoods, other types of biases. If you're doing evacuation, which region should you evacuate? Can they actually evacuate or not? So those are interesting or challenging questions for us to answer, but also an exciting time for AI. Like every civil engineering student, I was like, oh, build big bridges. And then during my third year, I discovered a field of earthquake geotechnical engineering, which at that point sounded cool. It was like, oh, I can save thousands of people's lives by looking at hazards. So I ended up doing a master's in geotech, which led me to a PhD trying to understand fundamentally what is happening. Started helping out a lot of my friends and working with a lot of my friends in different areas. So that's how I got into teaching, mostly by accident. Even one of my first courses was teaching LaTeX, which was a typesetting course. I always wanted to do it, and Cambridge has like attend that course. It was always booked out. So I did it by myself, trying to learn it. And once I had some basic knowledge, I thought, oh, maybe I should teach. So because it was always hard to get into that course, why don't I do a free course in the evenings, and started doing it. And teaching's kind of more like that's when you actually learn, not when you're taking the course, but actually delivering a course. And since then I've been really passionate about having free courses in general. Like, I think education should be more open, accessible to everyone, equitable. So I've always tried to create more free curriculum, make it accessible for people. When I was doing it in Cambridge and running the Code Club for the first time ever, I've had people travel 80 miles to come and let their kids have this experience of learning programming. I've seen it here in Austin as well, people driving like for 30 minutes to bring, like outside of Austin, bring their kids, because to give them that opportunity. And I think that's important, to have opportunities for people, and to have a society which is willing to contribute and create a place where everyone can come together, help each other out. I think the more open, the more helpful you are, and more you contribute to the society. That's what I would define as a good citizen. A society is made of everyone contributing to it. So like, I want people to have equal access, equitable access, and just contribute without expecting anything in return, because people whom I help are going to go help more people.